everybody, welcome to Raphaela Explains It All. I'm Raphaela and I'll be doing just that. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the NYX Highlight and Contour Palette. This isn't a new contour palette. I don't know exactly when this came out, but it wasn't this year, so I'm kind of late on the game. But I figured since summer is coming up and everybody wants that glowy, structured, contoured look, that this is as good of a time as ever to review this palette. I'm going to be doing basically a first impression slash demo of how I would use a contour palette like this. And so the first thing I want to say is that this one, I picked this up for about $25 at Target. And in terms of contour palettes nowadays, this is somewhere in the intermediate price range. It is very affordable, so if you want a starter contour palette, but you don't want to get the Anastasia Beverly Hills right away and drop $50 to $60 on a contour palette like that, then this is a really, really good place to start. The first thing I'm noticing is that it gives you a really wide range of shades. We have 4 different highlighters slash brighteners and 4 different contours. So I think this would be good for a variety of skin tones. Let's talk about the highlighters first. The first one I see here is called Ice Queen, and it is a really frosty white highlight. I think this would be a really strong one. I would use this when I go out somewhere at night and there's going to be flash photography, or if I really, really want that glowy look, or if I'm going to be strobing. The second one, this is called Soft Light, and this is something I would use to highlight and set the under eye area. The third one is called Cream, and it looks sort of like that banana powder, and it would also be used as a setting powder, I think. This fourth one is really beautiful. It's called Nectar, and it's sort of like a champagne light frost, not as strong as Ice Queen in terms of the shimmeriness, but still very, very beautiful. I think on deeper skin tones this would be just gorgeous as a highlight. Now for the contours, first one we have here is called Tan, and that's exactly what it is. It's just a tan color. I think this would be good for all types of skin tones except for really deep ones, and that's because I don't think it would give a strong enough contour. The second one here is called Toffee, and this is also a really nice color. It's somewhere like a grayish sort of brown, so it's not going to be that strong standout highlight, but at the same time it is going to give you a more structured look than if you weren't wearing anything at all. The third one here is called Sculpt, and it is the lightest of the bunch in terms of the contours, and it could be used for around the face area for contouring where you don't want that strong dark brown on an everyday basis, but you still want to add dimension to the face. And the last one here is called Hollow, and that's exactly what I would do with it. I would use it on the hollows of the cheekbones to give that really sculpted finish. I think Hollow and Ice Queen together are going to give you the strongest highlight and contour sculpted look. Another thing I want to mention is that all of these little thingies here are replaceable. So if you use one of these shades more than others in terms of the contours or the highlights, you can just replace that one and get an extra. They sell them individually in these little boxes, and that's really good because you're not always going to be using all 4 of the highlights and all 4 of the contours. So when you're starting to run out of one, you can just go ahead and replace that one instead of buying the new kit. And I think that also makes it super affordable. So now that we've talked about the features of the product, I want to kind of give you a demo of how I would use this sort of contour palette. Now all I've done so far with the face area is apply my foundation and concealer. I didn't put any kind of setting powder on the under eye area, but I did use my Revlon Photo Ready setting powder on the rest of the face. And that's because on the under eye area I like to have a lighter setting powder because it makes it really stand out and it sets the areas where I want to highlight. And so to set the under eye area, I think I'm going to go in with this lightest non-shimmery shade right here, and that was Soft Light. I'm going to take this brush, which I believe is from e.l.f., and it is meant to be a crease, fluffy blending brush, but I think it's going to be really nice for the inner corners of the eye. So I'm going to take this one right here, set my under eye area, patting motions, because I don't want to disturb any of the concealer. And what I'm noticing is that it's going on really smoothly. I can see right here in the mirror that it did set this area very nicely. I'm not seeing any kind of creasing or anything, so I'm feeling really confident about this one. With the same brush, I'm going to take this more yellow powder, And around the eye area in a triangle shape, I'm going to set that. I don't want to go into the inner corners with this one because I don't want to make it look like I have raccoon eyes or anything with this yellow powder. The innermost corners of the eye should be the lightest, and that's because it attracts the most light to this area and gives you that nice finish. I'm going to be using the same brush, taking this lightest color once again, soft light, and I'm going to go down the nose bridge from the area right in between the eyebrows. That's because I like to have a really highlighted look in the middle of the face. I don't want to do anything crazy on the nose, you know, like those Instagram highlighters where they're completely shimmery right here in the nose. They look like one of those Russian nesting dolls. I'm going to take this same color, and on the Cupid's bow, I will accentuate that area. Once again, using soft light, I'm going to go right on the chin, under the center of the bottom lip, and that completes the highlight for the center of the face. Now I'm going to move on to contour. I'm not going to touch the highlight on the cheeks until the contour is done. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fluffy, angled blush brush. This is the Morphe G4, and it is a really wide one. It's not very precise. That's because I'm going to take the lightest contour shade, and that right here is Sculpt, and I'm going to set the area where I want to have the most contour. I'm going to go in later with a more precise brush and give that sculpted finish, but for now I'm just going to give a shadow on that area. And so in circular sweeping motions, from the bottom of the temple to the center of the ear, I'm going to sweep this lighter contour shade over and bring it down towards the cheek and the lip. I don't want to go too low because I just want it to be under the cheeks. I'm going to do that again for the other side. Can you see how that's applying? It actually blends really, really beautifully with my makeup. I'm going to leave that alone for now, and I'm going to take the same shape brush but slightly smaller and more precise. I'm going to take the same exact shade, and this time I'm going to go in on the forehead area right next to the hairline but not touching the hair. This is going to add dimension to my face. I have a very round face, so I like to do this in order to give it some shape, so it's not just... I'm trying to avoid touching the hair, but being as close to the hairline as possible. I'm going to go over it once again. I'm specifically using a lighter contour shade on the forehead area because I don't want to be too dark. This is what I'm going to do for an everyday sort of look, so unless I'm going out, I'm going to leave this area sort of subtle. Same brush, same color. I'm going to do the jawline. So I'm going to start right under the center of the chin and sweep under the jawline. Bring it up towards the ear, blending nicely. And the same for the other side. And you guys can add darker colors for wherever you want a stronger contour, but since I'm doing sort of an everyday look, I'm going to use the lightest shade. Now I'm going to use the same exact brush, and the area where I do want the most contour, which is the cheeks and the hollows of the cheeks, I'm going to go in with Toffee. Don't be heavy-handed when you swirl around. You can pick up more pigment than you would like to. I'm noticing that this contour palette is actually very pigmented, which is really nice for something so affordable. We're on our more precise brush, and I'm going to go into the same area except not as wide of a range because we've already set the area where we have the shadow. Now I want to define it. So I'm going to go in from this area up to the temple. As you can see, I have the tapered end closer to this side because that's where I want it to be thinner, and the wider end over here because that's where I want the most concentration of the product. You do the same thing on the other side, sweep it up towards the temples, blending as you go. And there we go. I think that looks beautiful. I'm really liking this palette so far. Now we're going to give the highlighters a try. I'm going to use the same Morphe G4 brush because I like how it applies the contour and the highlight. And I'm going to use Nectar. I don't want anything too strong for the daytime, but at the same time I still want it to have a shimmer, so I'm not just going to use one of the brightening ones. Right above where we did the contour, hold the brush in the same orientation as we did before because we want it to be the widest up here. And in sweeping motions, right on the apples of the cheeks, begin applying. And this time we want to bring it up farther on the temples, right behind the eyebrow. Because we want the most light in this area. It's going to offset the contour very nicely. It is looking absolutely beautiful, guys. For a contour palette that is so affordable, this is giving me a really nice look. Right in the center of the forehead, in between the brows, sweep that on. I'm not going to bring it down the nose bridge just because I don't want to accentuate my nose bridge any more than it already is. It's very high, and so I don't feel that I need a lot of contouring and highlighting in that area. If you do, you're going to want to sweep this color down the nose bridge, and then you're going to want to go in with a contour shade on both sides. And that'll really accentuate your nose bridge. I'm going to do the same thing on the chin. And a tiny bit on the center of the Cupid's bow. One more thing I really like to do with the highlight is take a fluffy eyeshadow blending brush, go in with the same shade you used on your face, and highlight the brow bone. This brush I'm using, guys, is actually from this app called Wish. It came in a set of 14 brushes, and it costs like $8, I'm not even kidding. And the quality is really good, so if you want to just start out with makeup and you don't want to go and buy really expensive brushes, go on the app called Wish. Alright guys, and we're done. So overall, my first impressions of the NYX Highlight and Contour Palette are that it is super affordable, has a wide range of colors to suit a wide range of skin tones. It applies very beautiful, blends like a professional contour palette. It is very pigmented, and honestly, I'm loving it. I'm going to be implementing this in my everyday makeup look. If you're looking to up your makeup game for this summer, but you are not looking to drop $60, you should definitely check out the NYX Highlight and Contour Palette. That's all for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I'll see you next time.